field, that is mass communication. And number two, for my career development. These are the two main reasons why I joined this program.
Okay, good. Next, Baruch. Nano,
Yes,
you sound like, are you a Ghanaian? That's a Ghanaian name.
No, sir, I'm a Nigerian.
Well,
only that I came from Zuru.
Ah, beautiful. That's in Kepi, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's wonderful. Beautiful name, beautiful name. So go right ahead. What's your motive?
So basically career development. And I believe this program will also help in improving or harnessing my acquired experience analytically and of course, as far as research is concerned.
Well, that sounds very good, very good. We have heard that. Dayabu, Wufan, Umar. Dayabu Wufan, his screen is frozen. So he's probably not with us. Are you sleeping? It looks like he's sleeping. Okay, but are you ready now? Badam Leo Tarpa, Danzoho, can you hear us? We can see you. You look puzzled, as if you're not sure where you are. Okay, Mariam Ado Haruna. Hello, Mariam.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon. So,
okay, so
tell us a little bit about your motives.
Well, sir, I think it's just to broaden my knowledge on this field of mass communication, because that's what I've been studying from the first degree and second degree, and then career development as well.
Okay, that's good. Well, Jamila. Hello, Jamila. Well, looks like quite a few people are shy. They don't want to talk. But we needed to know who they are so that we shall. Hawa, can you please be in a. Hawa is in a very noisy environment. Remember, this is a class. A class is a class. So it's not a place where you have a lot of noise all over the place. All right. Okay, who else? Eugenia? All right. Hey, Eugenia, how you doing? You can unmute.
I'm fine, thank you, Prof. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, who are you and why are you here?
My name is Eugenia Abu. I am a broadcast executive, former executive director of programs NTA, and I am taking the PhD in mass communication because I believe that perhaps I have something to learn from people who have gone ahead of me in the course. This is the reason why I'm here.
Well, it sounds very good enough. Well, the year has been frozen. Sorry, Hadiza, we need to see your video. We need to see, it's just like a class. You can't come to class and cover your face, right? And you can't come to the class and cover your face. So we need to see you so that we know who we all are. Okay? The year will go ahead, recognized. Yeah, but I can't see you. I mean, you. Dayabu, you can unmute. Dayabu, you can unmute. Hello, Dayabu, you can unmute. Nura is already here. He's my boss. You know that, dude, don't you? Nura Ibrahim is my boss. So, well, let me ask him one. So, yeah, Nura, why are we here?
Hello, class.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think we are all here to learn.
That's good. We are here to learn. That's very good.
We are here to learn, and for the students there in the class, I think if you are being careful, you are here to have half of your PhD proposal done.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
So good, Jamila. Hello, Jamila. Okay, so tell us.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Okay, Nura, it's all right.
Jamila Mohammed. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. No, Nura, she's not talking to you. She's talking to the class.
Okay. Okay. So my name is Jamila Mohammed Bayero. I'm also an academic with Ahmadu Bello University Mass Communications Department. I also ventured in to get my PhD for career development.
Okay, that sounds very good.
Thank you.
Lamara. 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 Okay. Lamara.
Oh, somebody is interrupting you. We can hear some sound. Some people should mute.
I know. They should all mute. I'm going to mute everyone.
They should mute. We can hear people talking in the background.
Yeah, and they should not. Can you please all mute your videos, or otherwise I'll mute all of you. Can you mute all your videos?
Our videos or audios, Prof.
No, audios. I'm talking about audio feed. Can you mute your audio feed? Because there are a lot of people, some people are just learning the process right now. Would you believe that? Some people are just learning the process right now. So I have to go and mute all. Okay. Now I'm the only person talking, right? Right. So we have heard a sample of the motives why people are involved in the program. And I think that's very good, but there is one thing missing, absolutely critical, that is missing. And people have not, nobody seems to have said it. That's probably because I haven't gone around to everyone. But the most important thing is the research strategy. That's what PhD is all about. PhD is not about career advancement. You can advance in your career without a PhD. PhD is not about looking up to someone. You can be what you are. The most important thing is to identify your own identity and say, this is my identity, and figure out. So you don't come to a PhD class believing that it will help you in your career. It will not. Don't come to a PhD class believing that you want to learn something. This is not a place where you learn something, because PhD class is not about books. It's not about library. PhD class is about intrinsic motivation of what you want to do. That is the key word, the key expression, intrinsic motivation. Are you motivated enough to want to carry out an investigation? Are you willing to go where no one has gone before? Are you willing to rock the boat? Are you willing to think outside of the box? Are you willing to challenge your own existence and your own beliefs? Are you willing to do things that nobody else has been able to do? Because if you are unlucky enough to be a student that I'm going to supervise, then you and I are going to have a very, very tough time. Because the first question I'm going to ask you is, tell me, what is it about your PhD topic that I will know now after you finish, which I didn't know when I woke up in the morning? In other words, I had expected somebody to tell me they want to do a PhD because they want to contribute to knowledge. It's not the book, but the process. So that is why we're here. We are here as PhD students in order to understand how we can make contribution to knowledge. And by that contribution to knowledge, it means we have to be very radical. We have to be different. We have to do things in a totally different way. We have to think outside of the box. So don't come to this class thinking that you are going to talk about coverage of Boko Haram between Vanguard and Guardian and all that. Don't come to this class thinking you're talking about the impact of social media on Almajiri or something like that. That has all been done. We're not interested in that. We're interested in something that shakes our mind, shakes our head. We're interested in something that makes us believe that you are making an original contribution to knowledge. That is why I say words like the impact of, the influence of, the effect of. I want you to delete these words from your vocabulary right now. They don't exist in a PhD class. They don't exist in a PhD research. Because there are so many things that affect the influence of the effect of the outcome of. So a PhD is about thinking outside of the box. It's about making an original contribution to knowledge. Pick up any PhD you like and criticize it, critique it, because that's been part of your assignment. We're going to give you some PhDs and we're going to ask you to criticize that PhD. The PhD has already been submitted. The guy is already a doctor, but we want you to criticize it. Tell me what is it about this PhD that you could do better if you are the person to do the thing all over again. So that is why it is very important for us to have this small pep talk. So don't go about thinking that a PhD is about what you can do. A PhD is about what you can, the contributions you can make to knowledge. So it is very, very important for us to understand that, keep that in mind. And as we go along, we'll be guiding you. We'll be giving you a lot of resources that will help you, links, books, and other resources that will guide you along. And we are pretty open. Department of Mass Communication is open, very, very open. We are open people. So you can approach any one of us anytime you like. We don't see you as students, we see you as colleagues, because as you are learning, we are also learning. And that's exactly what my boss, Noura Ibrahim, said, that he's here to learn. We're all here to learn. So don't think that somebody has a PhD so he knows it all. When you have a PhD, that's the beginning of your ignorance, because that is when you realize that you really don't know what you think you know. All right? So let us deconstruct that perception of being a PhD. You want the letters PhD written against your name so that you can go about and blow north. I'm a doctor, I have a PhD. Well, it's not going to work. That's not how a PhD works. A PhD is about contribution to knowledge. And if you go to a village and start blowing head and you have a PhD, then they will ask you a question about how does your PhD contribute to putting food on the table? And if you can't answer that, then you don't have a PhD. We have a lot of people who are professors, PhDs in mechanical engineering, but they can't fix their car. We have a lot of people who are PhDs and they are professors in electrical engineering or ICT. Their computer spoils, they have to take it to somebody else. So PhD is about living the life of an intellectual. It's about living the life of somebody who thinks outside of the box. And that is why we're here. So we're not here to get a PhD. We're here to contribute to knowledge. We're not here to prove things. We're here to disprove things. You don't come into a PhD class thinking, oh, I'm going to prove this. No, you come into a PhD class thinking you're going to disprove something, because the whole idea of contribution to knowledge is to disprove something. The more you try to disprove something, the more effective that thing becomes. It's very, very important to understand this. So with that, let me share my screen and then we start the class. So I have been given two topics. This is the first one. It's a marathon topic. Hawa, please be in a quiet environment. You keep on muting yourself.
I am, sir.
Okay. So they have been given two topics. This one is the easy one. The other one is the one that is really tough. That one goes kata head finish. That one is on quantitative method, and that's the one that everybody is getting away. That is why they ran away from it and gave it to me. Because it's more really complicated, but I love it. I love the idea of a challenge. I love the idea of taking you from zero to a hero. I love the idea of holding your hands and then guiding you effectively to where I think you need to go. So don't worry, no matter how difficult it is, we are going to break it together. We are going to deconstruct it. So let's start with the easy part, the itty bitty little parts that are very easy to absorb. So this is just a general overview of research topic. So let's get our bearings. What is research? Systematic inquiry. Why systematic? Systematic means structured. It means something that we do in a structured, functional way. That's why I said systematic. It's very, very important. Methodologically, method is very critical also in research. You have to have a method. And that is why they even often say that there is method in madness. Whatever you do is about method. So you see, the whole research that you do for your PhD is really about method. It's not about what you discover, it's about how you discover it. That's very critical. Because doctoral research is not about the end product, but the process that leads to the end product. So you don't just simply plunge into a research just like that, but you have to follow a particular process. And that is why whether you are doing a PhD in mass communication, in theology, in computer science, the fact is it is a methodological process, it's a scientific process. So our two major goals in this lecture are to acquaint you with a step-by-step procedure of inquiry, and at the same time to provide the guidance for following these generally accepted principles of research. It's very, very important for us to understand what these are. These principles are critical to our understanding of how things work. Now, many of you, virtually all of you, are in the communication discipline, one way or the other. Either you're a practitioner, but I assume that you all studied mass communication, right? So you must be a practitioner now, or you are involved in public relations, or you are dealing with communication. So it's very important for us to understand this communication. So what is communication? Communication is a process in which people arrive at a shared meaning. We are not communicating if we are arguing. So if you and I are arguing about something, then we are definitely not communicating at all. But once we communicate, it means we are sharing the same meaning. And then when people create and manage meanings and share their understanding of social reality, then communication takes place. Well, let's look at it this way. I like music. I like music a lot. I'm a musician, actually, a guitarist. So let's say I like a particular musician and you don't like that particular musician. And we're talking about that musician, and then you say, he's the best, and I'm saying he's terrible. So are we communicating? We're not, because we don't have a shared meaning. The only shared meaning we have is that we both disagree. So let's take the video. There are people who think the video is fantastic. I think it's horrible. So if we're talking about the video, you and I are not communicating. Let's talk Shatta, Maman Shatta. There are people who think he's a genius. I think he's just A-okay. It's not really okay, but just A-okay, just ordinary. So you say, no, you are wrong. Shatta is a genius. You're wrong. Davido is a genius. You're wrong. Michael Jackson is a genius. And I'm saying I don't like them, okay? I don't think that. So if you and I are arguing about something, then we are not communicating. So it's very, very critical to understand that. But if you tell me that Davido is good, I say, well, that Davido is very good to you. That's fine. I'm glad you like him. I'm not really sure he's good, but hey, it's all right. You do your thing, I do my thing. So that's okay. No wala. We are now communicating effectively because we have shared meaning. We have shared understanding of how to differ from each other. So we don't have to have the same understanding or the same meaning. So we are interested in the way we share our communication, and we share our views with each other. Now, even though we use different tools for studying communication, common interests, united focus, and complementary areas of expertise have formed the discipline. And would you believe that actually the discipline of mass communication was not created by mass communicators, but by people in different disciplines? So communication researchers like you examine the process by which meanings are created and managed. In other words, how people structure and interpret messages and use symbols, such as language in interpersonal, group, organizational, public, intercultural, and mediated text. Now, a lot of our communication is now mediated. So really, mass communication is about mediated text. It's less intercultural, less organizational, except for those in public relationships, and less of looking at language, except for those in cultural studies. But for the vast majority of people in mass communication, it's about mediated text. What is mediated text? Mediated text is something that is facilitated by a media, whether it's a book, a paper, a musical instrument, a camera, or whatever it is, or the internet. Now, internet has become the biggest mediated context. So the breadth of communication inquiry is universal and inclusive, and the context in which the communication process examined are diverse yet very, very interrelated, very closely interrelated. It's a little wonder then that no other discipline of knowledge is quite as universal as mass communication. Excuse me. So this is now. Let's look at the communication discipline itself and see what it's all about. Excuse me, just a minute. All right, sorry, I'm back. So communication and technology is the first structure of communication discipline. This is connected with mediated communication, as I said earlier, and how people fulfill their entertainment or information needs by using technologies such as computers, smartphones, MP3 players, digital video, cameras, and so on. And as researchers, we examine the impact of technology on people, groups, organizations, and society. And we also consider how people use technologies to enhance, complement, or substitute face-to-face communication. Now let's pause here and just sort of discuss these things with each other. So here we are. Text speak is the SMS abbreviation used in modern written smartphone communication. All right, we all know that. Normal for normal. We all know that. So are we happy with text communication? This kind of communication, is it the kind of thing that we like? Can somebody say anything? You can unmute. Hello?
I think text messages have pretty much ruined the language of communication.
Why?
I think text messages, because I find that language is constantly changing, and abbreviations are used often now by those who use SMS, and some of the abbreviations are not so elegant, to be honest. And
okay,
if you are not within the...
Go ahead.
If you're not within the demographic of those who use text messages, especially amongst young people, you're going to find it a bit frustrating. And then after some time, it begins to move into mainstream. People forget that official language is not really about text messaging, and they begin to translate it into everyday parlance. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. And then it's also very befuddling for a lot of people. Only a group of people who understand it.
Okay, now who determines the rules? Who determines what is right and what is wrong? You just talk about demographics. You talk about demographics. So take Generation Z. These are kids that are like what, 18 to 25? So to them, that is a perfectly wonderful lexicon. But to you, I'm sure you are in your 40s, that is wrong. So who's right? Are you right or are they wrong?
I think it depends on the generation. And who
That's
decides really is whether you have communicated. I think in the end is whether you have been able to send your message.
Precisely. So if I write NML, that is for normal, and my publics understand NML as normal, then who's to say that is right or that is wrong? You get what I mean? So any other contribution on this? Hello? Yeah, that's okay. Okay, Jamila, you can unmute. I've asked you to unmute.
Okay, so yeah. I'll look it from the meanings that we are using. There are words that we find it in our culture might probably be something that you don't use, but then because of the emojis or the abbreviations, you find it that it's easier or it's normal for this class to use it. So in this, for the society, it's abnormal, while for the group of people that use it, it's normal. In this case, we will say that it tampers with the cultural culture of us.
Well, that's the question that I'm asking. Who decides normal? Who make the rules? Because the English, which society? A society or a substrata of society. Who determines grammar? Who determines morphology? Who determines syntax? Who determines semantics? Who determines what is right or what is wrong? Because we have a group of people who use a particular parlance, and they use it because that's what they understand, that's what they know. But you have another group of people who are older. I mean, anybody who's over 40 is old, very, very old, extremely old. You know, you're about to expire. And you don't understand your kids. And that is why you have this generation gap. You have young people who love rap music, who listen to hip hop music, and you have older people who are talking about Pela. And younger people are saying, the hell with Pela. The guy is dead, okay? Why are you talking about him? And then you, the older person, will say, but Tupac Shakur is also dead. So no, man. Tupac Shakur is not dead. He's alive. So who's right and who is wrong? So you see, once we get into this conundrum of discussion about debates about what should be done and what shouldn't be done, we're talking with communication. Because there's no right, there's no wrong. There's only what works. And the most important thing is what works for you. So if a person likes to write text speak and communicate, that's all right. But if you come to WIAC and you shouldn't write text speak, and then you mark the kid wrong, you're not being fair to him because that's the language he knows. So what matters is the meaning. Forget about the syntax, the semantic, the meaning. Does it convey meaning? How are you? NML. YKK? Yakaki. Okay? You understand it. You know it. Why should the semantics bother us? So, like I told you, we are going to discuss a lot of things. We are going to rock the boat. We are going to think outside of the box. Now, next, go to communication. Now, this covers communication in groups of 3 or more persons. Researchers often study how groups emerge, accomplish their goals, solve their problems, and how group leaders function. Now, topics in small group communication include small group effectiveness, cohesion, and so on. In addition, family communication evolved from group and interpersonal relationships. Now, let's look at family relations. First, we're in a virtual group. This is a virtual group. How many times do you communicate with your family every day? And when I say communicate, I'm not talking about mediated text, I'm talking about physical communication. Do you talk? Or is it a situation where in the evening, you come into a living room, mom, dad, sister, brother, uncle, everybody is sitting down, the TV is on, maybe it's RO 24, maybe it's DSTV, maybe it's CNN, nobody's watching the TV. But everybody is pressing their phone, okay? Somebody is on WhatsApp, another person is on Instagram, another person is on YouTube, I mean, nobody's watching the TV, but you have paid subscription. The guy has paid subscription for a year for that TV, DSTV, but nobody's watching it. Because if they want to watch it, they say, oh, I can watch it on my YouTube, okay? And they have an app anyway, and I can watch the program from my app. So why are we paying for the subscription? So we are into this primitive mode of having to gather together. The digital villages that we have. So we have digital communities, digital villages. So what I want to ask is, does this improve or disrupt family cohesion? Someone? Lamara, go ahead.
Well, I think we can say it improved the family cohesion because when you consider in those days, one has to travel far to meet his family or members of the family, especially the extended one. But now with this digitalization, within seconds, you can communicate with the members of your family who are in a far distant places.
That's very good, but we're not talking about far families. We're talking about within the same household, in your own house right now, with your wife or your kids or something like that. People are not communicating. Is this good or bad?
It's very good.
Good.
It's very, yes.
Any other perspective?
Yes, Prof. Well, I go with a contrary view.
That's nice. That's nice.
As far as I am concerned, it has actually, in one way, of course, digitalization is both a blessing and a curse in a way, because Now, if a father and mother will come into the sitting room, and of course, children on the other side are also touching their phones side by side, it means there's something wrong. Because I expect that during the conversation they will have as a family, they should learn from each other regarding their problems and of course solutions about, the problems the family may have. And you discover that even when the children are, doing things that are wrong, parents are not likely to know because they are also busy with their own phones. Meanwhile, the children are also busy with their own phones doing what is wrong. So in a way, because even on TV, while you're watching TV, of course, media is also a room to educate, an avenue to educate people. Now, if parents are paying attention to the TV while they are watching in the parlor, they are likely to tell that, okay, you see this we're watching, there's a lesson to learn from it. But the parents are also busy on their phones. Children are also busy on their phones. Depending on what they are doing with the phone, it may not even be positive. So I feel in a way, this is not too good.
So what you suggest is that we should get rid of our phones, or at least get rid of all these social media sites?
Not at all. It should be done with sort of decorum. And of course, there should be some checks from time to time.
Who decides the checks? So you're saying we should censor the use of mediated communication?
Not really censor per se, but there should be that room to have a face-to-face conversation between family members.
Okay, it's all right. Good morning, Dad. Good morning. How are you? I'm fine. How's school? Good. School is fine. End of discussion. So what else?
No, you can strike a conversation.
With
so you
what?
Can strike a conversation about realities of life. About society.
Okay. Society sucks. Society sucks. A lot of people are being killed every day. There is all this security. And son said, "Hey, Dad, what does it got to do with me? Okay, I have nothing to do with that. I'm not a security agent, so I don't want to know. But hey, Dad, look at this. I found this incredibly groovy website where you can download fantastic music." And Dad says, "Hey, no. That is wrong. You should go and pray. You should go to the church. You should go to the mosque." I mean, so what are we talking about? Are we saying that the disruptive technology should not be used at all in mediated communication? Or you are saying decorum? Decorum. You use the word decorum. So who decides that decorum?
Now in this scenario,
whose rules of engagement?
Well, I think it should be a collective one. Now, in this scenario, I think the father...
In collective, who collective? We're talking about mom, dad, grandfather, kids, and sitting down and deciding whether they should use Instagram or not?
No, it should be such a mutual rule, that will be beneficial to all parties.
Well, go ahead, Sagiru.
Sir, I think I go with Nano, but in my own perspective, I think what is needed is moderation. There's need for guidance for the entire family to know the time they will give to the virtual world and the time they will give to the physical world.
You are creating a timetable of social discourse in the family. You want a timetable, right? Between 5 to 6, this is what we discuss. Between 6 to 8, this is what we discuss. Between 8 to 9, dinner. Then after dinner, this is what we discuss. Are you suggesting that?
No, it is not a timetable, sir. What I need is a kind of sensitization. Let them be sensitized to know the time they allocate to this and the time they allocate to that. I think that will help.
No,
so
I think...
all time to the virtual world.
Okay, I'm coming. Look, I'm in the class.
Hello, sir.
That's why I'm in the class. Yeah, I have a grandson who is just driving me nuts. Would you come and close the door?
Hello, sir.
Hey, yo.
Hello?
He just left the door open. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Who's talking? Sagiru? Sagiru, we're
Hawa.
Hawa, okay. Hawa first, then Lamara. Okay, Hawa. Go ahead.
Okay, sir, I think we are in a situation whereby there's this saying that if you can't beat them, you join them.
Good, so you're joining everyone.
No, there is this saying that say that if you can't beat them, you join them. As a parent, the father, the mother, the auntie, and whatsoever, that they can't really stop these children from involving themselves into all those kind of form of technology. So I think the issue is that the parents should also involve themselves. If you're not on Facebook, for instance, try to be on Facebook and friend your children. By then, you're also trying to communicate to kind of create a mutual relationship, making the student know and get involved in this kind of new technology we have, a form of communication.
I love that. I love that. Join them. If you can't beat them, join them. Don't create a barrier. Don't create a situation where you say they are there, I'm here. I think it's good. Dayabu, you wanted to talk? We have been trying to ask you to unmute, but yeah, go ahead, Dayabu. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, I am with Sagir because I believe the use of this technology in the interaction and communication in the family is inevitable. To have some guidance on how to use them effectively because communication in the house is inevitable.
Okay, Lamara?
Yes, sir. My own contribution is that this technology helps in sharing of ideas among the family members. One is, yes, by the time that we are all sitting in one place, touching my screen, and the other one doing, then we can come across a certain information that needs to be shared. This is one. Secondly, for one to be on Facebook or on WhatsApp with his family members, you can be able, especially the Facebook, you can be able to detect the father, for example, to see who are the friends of his son or his daughter. And by so doing, you can be able to kind of monitor their activities and guide them properly. And
So
also,
you are talking about censorship, the same thing, censorship.
no. There are
Yeah, that
someone
you are.
who
When
say,
you say monitor,
yes,
it means
yes,
control. It means program. Okay,
yes,
then it
one,
means you are not giving people a chance to be who they are. You want them to be who you are. So you are
yes,
forcing them into a mode of thinking. That is wrong.
that,
People have the right to express themselves to be whatever they are, whatever they want to be. You don't have the right to force them into a particular mode simply because you are a father. Who appoints
okay.
you?
But what of the issue of cohesion, unity?
Who's unity? Who's cohesion?
Yes,
Define
because
cohesion. Define unity.
okay, by the fact that by the time that myself as a father and my son and daughter and wife were all in the same room chatting differently, then there is an element of unity among us.
No, there's a unity. You just happen to be in one place, but you are not united because you're not communicating the same thing. All right?
Yes, sir.
Because I can be on Facebook, but with a different name. So you wouldn't know who I am. I can join all these networks with a different. Do you know I have 9 emails, 9 email addresses?
Yes, sir.
Good. So I can go anywhere I like without anybody knowing that I am who I am. So the point of all this is that mediated communication is about personal and self-responsibility. It is not about a person telling you where to go and where not to go. I have a Generation Z daughter in this house, and she's heavily into mediated communication. Right now, I'm upstairs, and they're downstairs. So they sent my grandson to come and tell me that lunch is ready, and I tell him to leave me alone. I'm in a lecture. Now, otherwise, they would just simply send me a text message, or they would send me a WhatsApp message. Dinner is ready, lunch is ready, come down. Okay, I'm okay with that. I don't have to talk. I don't have to listen to somebody talking. Right now, all of us are in a class. We are talking. We don't have to be in the same place, breathing into each other's faces. Okay, looking into each other. You don't have to share my space. I don't have to share your space. You stay where you are. I stay where I am. We communicate. We are doing mediated communication, and at the end of it all, something has been achieved. So, the purpose of my lectures, generally speaking, are to provoke thought. You're not going to find all this winner and Dominic a kind of linear structure. The idea is to provoke thought, to make you think outside of the box, to challenge you so that you can do something better. And I'm warning you, don't ever come up with a topic that says I'm looking at coverage of security challenges between Punch and Guardian or something like that, or some critical discourse analysis of Muhammad Buhari's policy as covered in Tribune. And don't even go there. Don't even think about that, because this has all been done. That is newspaper journalism, not communication. All right. So let's move on to the next slide, which is about health communication. Some of you are health communicators, so it all deals with the aspect of illness and wellness. And I think the biggest issue and challenge of health communication these days is because of the pandemic, the COVID-19. So that could be a very good research topic. You know, how effective have the COVID-19 communication been in making people aware of the dangers of COVID-19? We're talking about sanitizers, we're talking about face masks, We're talking about all these things. Do they really work? Do people really believe in them? And so on. So health communication right now in 2021 has taken a very, very significant portion. Before, we used to just simply relegate it to maybe USAID and all these aid agencies, but now we are living in a situation where health communication is extremely critical to our survival. So we would like to know more about that. This is a fast-growing area. And then instructional communication, which focuses on pedagogy. Instructional designers are those probably people teaching in schools. Again, instructional communication has become very important during the pandemic lockdown. 2 years ago, we wouldn't do this. This lecture would not have taken place. Now it is taking place because we are no longer doing in-person teaching, but we're doing remote teaching. And that remote teaching was forced on us because of the pandemic. So instructional communication has now taken a forefront. Suddenly computers, companies are coming up saying they can help you to create Zoom classes, Meet classes, whatever kind of classes. So it is very, very important means of this engagement. Another broad area is intercultural and international communication. This deals with interpersonal and mediated settings. Different people from different cultures have different forms of communication or saying the same thing, but in a different way. Traits, skills, habits, behaviors across different cultures. So cross-cultural communication is extremely critical because people like Stuart Hall have made a whole career out of this, trying to understand how people communicate. What is acceptable in one language is not acceptable in another language. It's the same thing with symbols. Symbols that are acceptable in one community are not accepted in another community. But then when you look at intercultural communication, we just simply go beyond the verbal. We also look at the body language, the body structure. For instance, tribal marks. The moment you see a particular tribal mark, you categorize a person in a particular way. So those tribal marks actually are communicating. If somebody is from Ijebu, for instance, or something like that, they have a mark which is different from a person who is from a different part of Yoruba land. In the north, there is also Bagubri, guys with a lot of marks on their faces. They are also indicative of coming from a community called Gobrawa. And again, in Kano, I know that if you have 3 marks on your cheeks, that by your mouth, you are categorized as a slave because slaves are also marked with those symbols. So we use body language and what I actually call body percussion as a form of communication. In religious rites, like all these Aladura people, they dress in a white cloth or something like that, and they engage in all sorts of rituals. That's body language, body percussion. The same thing with the Sufi, those Qadriya and Tijaniya people. They also engage in their own body language and body percussions. If you see somebody wearing a shirt that says Messi or Ronaldo, it means that person loves football. So we communicate. And if you see somebody with a t-shirt that says Michael Jackson or Davido, again, that shows he likes that particular musician. So we tend to overlook the importance and the significance of all these tiny, itty-bitty communication patterns because we are communicating one way or the other. And so we need to broaden our perception of what communication is. It's not just simply about newspapers, radio, or television. It's about human beings and how human beings were able to communicate with each other. And then interpersonal communication, people and how they relate with each other. And one area that I know a lot of you are probably going to be looking at is this social media and interpersonal communication. As a result of adoption of interpersonal communication, social media, have relationship between families increased or decreased? A question to ask, for instance. Let's ask that question. As a result of availability, 5 years ago, we don't have all these social media things. No WhatsApp, well, they maybe have existed, but they have not penetrated to the level of ordinary usage. So now we have WhatsApp, we have Telegram, we have Instagram, we have Snapchat, we have TikTok, we have all these things. Do you believe that as a result of this, your relationship with your family has improved or decreased? Anyone? Reflect. Think about your husband or your wife or your children or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your dog or dogs don't use social media, sorry. But if you do have a dog, think about how you relate with your dog. As a result of immersive use of social media, to what extent has that affected interpersonal communication at home or in the class or in the workplace? Let's talk about workplace if you don't want to talk about family. Aisar, Salisu, Musa, you want to talk?
Yes, sir. I want to talk.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
In what aspect? Aspect of work or aspect of family or aspect of friends?
Let's talk about workplace. Okay, you are working somewhere. I'm very sure. Whether you are in a market, whether in an office, whether in a corporate environment. Let's talk about that. To what extent has immersion, your own immersion and your friends' immersion in mediated communication affected interpersonal communication?
Well,
in other words, has it made it better or worse?
It makes it better, honestly speaking.
In what way?
In the cycle of my friends.
Okay, among the cycle of your friends. In what way?
Yeah, it has increased the cycle of my friends. There are many people whom before they were not my friends, but now courtesy of my immersion and the usage of this social media platform, especially Facebook, now I have so many friends. Like in my cycle, I think I have reached the limit of 5,000 friends, and I have, over 1,000 waiting for my friend, waiting for the acceptance of their friend request. So in this way, I can say that it has increased, the cycle of my friends.
What makes you popular? Why are you popular?
Because
are you a musician?
No, I'm a public commentator.
Those guys who talk in the newspapers saying this is right, this is wrong, right?
No, sir. We shed light on some, topical issues.
That's right. You are on light. So that's why you have a lot of friends, and you are very happy with the friends. Okay, now let me ask you: how many people are in your contacts in your phone? You have a phone, you have contacts. How many people are on that contact list?
Almost 2,000.
2,000, but you have 5,000 limit on Facebook. Another 5,000 waiting to get in. So you are running away from verbal communication and you are moving into non-verbal mediated communication. Is that what reflects your situation?
Yes, sir.
And you're happy with that?
Well, yeah, I'm happy. Honestly speaking,
good.
I'm happy.
Which means you don't want interaction with human beings on a face-to-face basis. You don't like people. You don't like human beings.
I do, sir, but technology now is changing the way and manner we live. We have to accept that.
That's right. So you're no longer the village guy you used to be. Eugenia, how about you?
I just wanted to ask whether friendship is definable and how do you define friendship? Because I think the last speaker was talking about the expansion of his friends, and the definition of friendship itself has to be interrogated. How do you describe friendship? And would friendship be defined as those with whom you engage with in your immersion? Or would you describe friends as people with whom you have a certain value system that binds you? Or would you describe friends as those with whom you share the same passion? What would a friend be really, and whether they qualify in that immersive space in which we are in to be described? The reason I say this is because as we go further in our immersion, I think Prof has asked a question for me that is germane, which is basically, are we running away from physical communication? In China today, they have the highest rate of suicide. So we also do need to look at communication and how it affects us and how it affects our health. I know people who are addicted to online. Whether that is a good thing or a bad thing is a different question entirely. I'm not in the medical field, but I've heard psychiatrists say we're buzzing all the time and we don't have time to be quiet. So I just thought to put it out there.
Well, good. So you tell us, what do you think is a friend?
I think
an avatar or somebody in your contact?
I don't consider everybody on my contact a friend. Some of them are acquaintances. Some of them are professional.
Are you talking about phone contact or mediated contacts?
I'm mostly only on WhatsApp. That's it.
Okay, so mediated contacts.
Yes.
What about the phone contact?
The phone contacts are maybe About half of them are people that I really know. The others are professional people with whom I've met along life's journeys in my work.
Okay.
I don't consider them my
Disposable.
friends.
They are disposable.
They are not really my friends, as it were.
Any other contribution? Somebody else? Dayabu, go ahead.
Like I heard from my colleagues, the mediated media, like social media, being used in the interpersonal communication, very helpful in the interaction by making things easier, affordable, and faster. For example, in workplaces, you find that a message is passed once and it reaches all the members at a lower cost. So to me, this of mediated communication is, of course, reduce the burden of using verbal and personal communication in the interaction between the people.
I think you are heading towards a particular direction. Since we all agree that mediated communication is efficient because it's reached out to a large number. That's why it is mass communication. So if I understand you, Dayabu and Isar, you are saying less humanity, more technology. You are happy not to talk to people. You are happier to just simply send a message on WhatsApp. Is that my understanding of it? Eugenia is a little bit more old school. So Eugenia is more interested in human interaction. But if you look at the demographics and the age limit, Eugenia is probably belongs to the class of people who really believe in seeing mouse talk. And I don't know the age. I haven't been given the profile of each one of you, but I would suggest that Hadiza, for instance, is a little bit more. I know her since she was a little taught. So Hadiza may probably be more interested in the mediated communication. So it's about a generation gap. And then in between, you have people like me. I'm 64 years old, but I'm into mediated communication. I prefer it more than the verbal communication. To be frank with you, I don't like to talk. I don't like talking. I prefer to just simply deal with it on an online system. And I'm very glad that my family thinks with me. So in my house, we don't talk, but a lot of keyboards are clacking all over the place. A lot of buttons are being pressed, and we're all okay. In my house, it is dangerous for a charger to fail. More dangerous for a charger to fail than for the car not to start. I mean, you can always get Uber to come and take you wherever you want to go, but a charger not working, that is a disaster of major proportion. It is biblical. It is catastrophic. But like I said, I mean, different strokes for different folks. But it is very important for us to understand that we are in a changing world. There's no doubt about it. We may not like it, but the tide is flowing along, and we just have to roll with the tide. We have to learn how to live with it. Next is language and symbolic codes. Some of you might be doing your research in semiotic analysis, and this is where you will be doing a lot of all these language. This is concerned with verbal and non-verbal communication codes, what you say and what you don't say. Again, this is actually more on cultural communication. But at the same time, a lot of research is being done in the area of language. I did a research, which is being published in Germany soon, on rap and language in Niger Republic, and I think there's somebody from Niger among us. He has not joined though, from Niger Republic and northern Nigeria, and how language can be used as a form of national cohesion. Now, what these guys do, rappers, they have verses. You know, every song structure has a chorus, verse, chorus, a bridge, and so on. In each verse, they have the first line in one language, second line in another language, and third line in another language. This is fantastic because it means that they are using language to communicate national cohesion and unity. So it is very, very important to understand the power of language and communication, and the way in which we perceive this language as form of national debate, how we understand each other. And I also have a group of rappers in Agege, that's in Lagos, who sing in half in Hausa, half in Yoruba, half in Pidgin English. Again, that's amazing because it means they can reach out to a whole lot of people and talk to them. So there are many of you who might be able to do research on this. So topics covers issues such as text or discourse, language intensity, language development in children, conversational flow, listening, polemics, kinesics, and nonverbal immediacy. And so again, nonverbal also goes back to body language, the way your body communicates things. It's very, very critical. And then, of course, the mother of them all, mass communication, which focuses on communication from a source or organization to many people via mediated channels such as TV, radio, newspapers, under the condition of limited feedback. Why limited feedback? Eugenia, when you are broadcasting, you really don't know who is listening to you, and you really don't care. You might be the only person on the planet really broadcasting. You don't know, you don't care. All you want to know is that you are broadcasting. Who knows? Maybe your signal is being picked up on moon by a group of aliens or something like that. So when we talk out and we don't really have any way of knowing who is listening and who is giving us a feedback, that's the classical definition of mass communication. And in contemporary times, mass communication actually means Yahoo, because that's what Yahoo is. Yahoo means undifferentiated audiences, a whole bunch of people. That's why those guys gave the term Yahoo to their website, which now has become part of international lexicon. So mass communication is what we're all about. For those of you in public relations, of course, we have organizational communication, spin doctors. Your boss is wrong. Your boss is a crook, and you know it, and he knows it, and everybody knows he's a crook. But you have to come and write a beautiful copy that says your boss is absolutely fantastic. He's a wonderful man. He's a caring man. He's a family man. I mean, look at his picture with his daughter and granddaughter at the beach or having dinner. They are just wonderful. It's a lie. So in organizational communication, you have to learn to be lie. You have to really do a lot of lie and a lot of eye service within the organizations. Public relations, basically, and spin doctoring. That's what basically it's all about. Spin doctoring. Next is public communication, which covers communication in non-mediated public settings and focuses mainly on one-to-many communication. And the big boss giving out, instruction. So you can analyze the public communication within an organization and find out whether the memos sent out have a proper syntax, morphology, and all that, and determine whether they are abusive or whether they are, what kind of style of leadership of the person who sent out the memo. Very, very critical to understand what kind of person it is who sent out this memo. And you can do that. So in this case, you are looking for a correlation between their mind and their writing, what they think about and what they write. And so that is public communication. So even within communication disciplines, we have sub areas. Communication and technology. These are all the sub areas of communication. And as you could see, for those of you who studied mass communication a long time ago, when you started all this thing, there has been a radical change in the way we now look at communication and technology. Before, we are just talking about the traditional communication that we know, television, radio, newspaper. But now we are moving into totally different new world. Digital information, for instance, emerging technologies, 3D and all that. So we are into a whole exciting new world. New media, basically meaning internet, telecommunications, satellite systems, visual communication design, and so on. And let's ask, is this good or bad? Does it redefine our fundamental characteristics as human beings, or does it enhance us? Does it rob us of our spirituality, or does it emphasize our spirituality? Is it good or is it bad? Let's hear some reactions. More immersion into communication and technology, altering the way we communicate. Is it good or bad? Hello? They're thinking. Nobody want to talk? Okay. If you say it is bad. Okay, Nano. Farouk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's not bad. Quite frankly, it's not bad, because for me, it's a welcome development. In a way, it has changed the way we do things. In fact, this is why we're here today. It gave room for us to even, be in this class at this very hour, while people are, in different locations. Without this, we would have waited until next week for us to come for a physical class with you, sir. So for me, this alone is a classical example of how positive this development is.
Okay. What about the darknet?
Well, I leave that to other people to decide. But for me, this is positive.
Okay, Mariam. You can unmute.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My network was poor earlier, so I didn't get the question.
Well, the question is that we are now moving into a real massive waterfall of technology, communication technology that redefines our fundamental spiritualities. Is it good or is it bad?
Oh, I think both, sir.
Oh, I like that. Both good and bad, hot and
Yes,
cold.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Well, let's hear it out. What's your argument?
Okay, so just like the statement made earlier by, I think, Nano, it makes a lot of things possible, just like this lecture we are having right here. And then apart from that, we can communicate with a lot of people that are not here. We can pass a lot of information worldwide. But on the other hand, it has the capacity of spreading fake news, lies. It has, it can incite violence and so many other things. When we look at the issue of hate speech, issue of fake news, the technology has made that possible.
Okay. This is very, very interesting. Right. Do you know a kitchen knife? Kitchen knife. You have a kitchen, right?
Yes, sir.
You have a kitchen. You cook.
Yes, yes, sir.
Good. So there's a kitchen knife. Beautiful, lovely kitchen knife, which you use to cut meat, to cut bread.
Yes, sir.
Right? To cut fruits.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah.
That kitchen knife was used by a woman here in Abuja to kill her husband.
Exactly.
Good. So whose fault is it? Is it the kitchen knife or the woman?
So it's the way it is being used. So the technology, the technology is just a tool. It can be used positively.
Why do you say it is bad?
And because
you said it is bad.
Yeah, the usage can be used positively.
Technology has nothing to do with it, because if you drive a car into a group of people and kill them, you can't say we stop driving cars. You have to ask the person who drives the car to be a bit more careful, right?
Yeah.
So the car has not, it's not the car that killed, it's the driver that killed. It's not the knife that killed, it's the woman that killed. So why would you even use the word bad in referring to technology? I want to know. You said it's good and bad. So what is the bad part of it? I would like to know.
Well, it makes a lot of bad things possible, just like I've mentioned. And well, it's based on the usage, as I've said earlier. Based on the usage, it can be used positively and it can be used negatively. So rather, the technology itself is just a tool, just like the knife you gave an example with.
Your computer, is it bad or good?
It's just a tool.
Precisely. Technology is just a tool. So it's our intention that determine the use of that particular tool. It's the same thing with communication technology. Of course, I'm sure you know the dark wave.
Yeah.
You know the dark wave. Have you been to the dark wave?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm asking you. Have you been to the dark wave? Dark internet?
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. But what I'm saying is that we are still talking this issue of philosophical argument. Don't forget, we're talking about doctor of philosophy. So this is philosophical. Sir. So have you ever heard of the term dark wave?
Dark wave, you mean the internet?
Yeah, there's a part of the internet that is called the dark wave. You don't know that one?
No.
Okay. The dark wave is the unpleasant part of the internet. You don't even just go there using Internet Explorer or Safari. You go there using some other form of a browser, which is a little bit weird. So the whole idea is that in the dark web, anything goes. There are no rules, no regulation, no ethics, no morality. Anything goes. The same thing with the use of technology. It is not the technology, the infrastructure that matters. It's the person who uses it and their intention. And so we get a lot of people trying to censor the internet, censor communication, saying this is all bad. Kids should not go on WhatsApp. They should not go on Instagram. They should not be using TikTok because these things are bad. No, it's not those that are bad. It's the kids that are bad. If you raise your kids responsibly, then you don't have to worry about whether they are misusing TikTok or not. So it's a question of individual personal responsibility, not a society to come and say this should be good or this should be bad. You are passing judgment. How are you? You did? Yeah, you pass judgment. You are saying good or bad. But who are you to pass that particular judgment? You have a beautiful knife in your house that you use to cut meat or fish. I love fish. I mean, you use it to scrape the scales of the fish and cook a beautiful fish meal.
Yes,
And
sir.
that woman used the same knife to butcher her husband. So we stop
Hello,
using
sir.
knives. No more knives. No more knives. We ban knives. Go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mariam.
I think I agree
You get
with
the
you
argument.
because part of the work we do mostly is advocating for the use of the internet, and one of the things we emphasize we emphasize on is teaching the children, especially kids, the right way to use the internet, like mentoring them, teaching them the right way to do the internet, because just like we have mentioned earlier, it's just a tool, and if there is no proper guidance, the kid might learn it the wrong way. So I think the internet is just thing. It's like we cannot even go anywhere right now based on what we are. I mean, the situation we are right now, the whole world, we cannot go anywhere without the technology. So I think it depends on what we teach the children, just like how we train them, just like how we kind of mentor them to orient them to be good people. It's the same way we are going to teach them how to use this technology properly.
That's okay. Sagiru, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I agree with you, sir. Internet in general or social media is just like a knife. But so there is another aspect of addiction. If somebody is addicted to it, definitely, as we know that social media is enticing, can lure somebody to addiction. And that addiction can get somebody maybe even to commit suicide or something like that. So we can see the bad aspect of it, in my own understanding, sir.
So that means we should actually stop internet because we don't want people to commit suicides.
No, sir. But people should be guided properly on how to use it.
Or who decides properly? Propriety. Who decides? Who makes the rules?
So the society, the people themselves.
Why should they? Who gave them the right to do that?
The parents for their own children and the right thinking people.
Right thinking. What about the wrong thinking people? I mean, so if you're talking about right thinking, wrong thinking, that means there is a template, an agreed template. And who are you to force this template on everybody? You see, that is why I want you to think this PhD thing is not about linear process. It's totally multilinear. We go from one place to another and we interrogate. That's why we are philosophers. We interrogate, we ask questions, we raise issues. Yes, Hawa, go ahead. Go ahead, Hawa.
So, that the issue of being either to agree or disagree with this internet, I think is an argument that is going to go on for so long. I was opportunity to be in one of the seminar with these Islamic scholars, and there was this argument that they have been presenting, whether the Islamic scholars being that they are very strict with this religion aspect, that they should be on the internet or not. And specifically, Sheikh Amin Daurawa said that if all those ulama refuse to be on this platform, which technology has really brought to us, then they will fail their followers. Because as I'm speaking to you, most of this what is it that I used to listen is on social media. It's on either Facebook, on Twitter, and I've joined many scholars for that. So you see, I'm not with them, but I listen to them severally on this kind of platform, and they have many followers with that. And I think Malam Aisar can testify to that. And again, sir, this issue of being on the either to criticize the media or what, it depends on the person, the individual person. For instance, let me look at myself. I used to look at one program on the YouTube. I don't know if you know it. What will you do? WWYD. What will you do? So I've been following this program for quite a long time. And I begin to kind of see myself in that kind of position. For instance, if you see somebody who is injured, how can you assess him as a person? So I kind of, even when I go out, I kind of try to, practice what I used to see on the YouTube. So it depends on the individual perspective. So if we try to say that maybe our children or our colleagues or whosoever cannot be in this kind of technology, I think the world is going to do with that person.
Okay, I quite agree with you. I mean, but Let's hear a perspective from somebody a little bit older. Eugenia, can you? I'm having a lecture. Say hello to the class. Hello. Well, this is the one making my life difficult. Now, go. Shoot up. Okay. So, any other person, Eugenia? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I didn't hear what you asked.
Well, the question was that she agrees it because she says that she's a much younger person, right? So she flows with the tide, and she has been in all these groups where people have different opinions. But the ulama, the conservative class, is now saying let's move along with this communication technology. And I'm saying that there are older elements in the society who are a little bit cautious about it. What would you say?
I think Hawa has spoken well. My initial comment is about the effect of it, and I think Prof has made the general comment about personal responsibility, which should be taken on board, because really it's about who the person is. But again, like has been rightly observed by Sagir, there are people that are more addicted than others. People who surf the internet, some of them spend forever on it and they can't get off it. So they need to like find some discipline, and some people are more disciplined than others as well. I think it's important that everybody gets on board. The comment I made does not remove the fact that if you do not come along and if you are not technology friendly in the communication world, you'll be left behind, like Hawa has said. I think it's critical to balance it. I think it's important that we realize that the human being was made not necessarily just to be technology driven. Technology is good, it has saved us. There's now health technology. You can be treated by a doctor who can look at you and discuss what's wrong with you without necessarily you being there. There's telehealth. And like everyone has agreed, we wouldn't have this lecture if this opportunity was not given. We would be traveling to Kano to get your class from wherever we're coming from. So technology has been really useful to everybody, even for education, as you rightly observed at the beginning. I think what it is one, personal responsibility, two, the discipline to learn that you cannot, it's like too much of a good thing can be bad. And again, yeah, it's also important that we learn that, I mean, when the church is closed, I attended church online. So those things do help. Otherwise, we would not be able to have a relationship in our faith if we do not have technology. With coronavirus, technology has been extremely useful. And it has shown that that is the way that the world is going to go. It is just that individuals should take responsibility for how it is managed. It is not supposed to be wiped away. We will all grow with it and learn as we go along. But people should take personal responsibility in the management of technology.
Yes,
all right, that's very good. Yes, Lamara.
Yes, sir. I think to some extent we can say technology is very, very good and important, especially in this our era. At the same time, it is also very negative. For example, the government may use technology to deny the citizens the right to communicate. In some countries, for example, Iran, sometimes if they used to block the internet from coming and going out of the country. And this is a kind of, and they use technology to block the internet. So this is one aspect of the, negative aspect of technology. Secondly,
It's not. Sorry, Lamara. It is
yes,
not
sir.
a negative aspect of technology. It's negative aspect of primitive thinking. I mean, you're saying people are blocking technology. They are blocking it. The technology is not cannot block itself, or somebody has to block it. And so you're saying these guys don't want people to have access to free information on the planet, and therefore they are blocking it.
Yes, sir.
Go off.
And my question now, although this is more or less a religious question,
This is philosophy, doctor of philosophy. Philosophy. Yeah, that's it. So it's not about religion, it's about philosophy. Go ahead.
My sister talked about attending a church service through the use of technology. Yes. So I don't know, can this church service, internet, church service via internet, could it be a kind of a real worshiping?
We are saying, you are talking about virtual worshiping. So are you saying virtual worshiping is not the same thing as physical worshiping?
That is my own thinking.
Why not? Why shouldn't it be? Eugenia, you want to talk about that?
Yes.
I think the only difference that I got was that I didn't have the community. I didn't have the people I usually sit with, people I usually see. But it was also important that we realized that for purposes of health, that was the way it ought to be. The Reverend Father who preached would have still been the same Reverend Father, and his message would have still been the same message. The only difference is that I didn't have the community, and I got used to, throughout the lockdown, worshiping on the internet and worshiping on TV. And it didn't remove the faith from me. It just meant that there are new ways of being able to hear the word of God. And I think that if I didn't have that, I may have been even more affected if I didn't have that. So it didn't remove anything from me in terms of what I learned from my faith and the worship. It even gave me some quiet time to spend with my family and listen, rather than be in a whole crowd of people, some of whom can be pretty distracted. But I miss the community, you know.
Well, you're something else. That's very, very important. So, Lamara, that answers your question. Being virtual does not mean not believing. You can be virtual and at the same time. I mean, I didn't go to the Eid prayers at the height of the COVID, and I don't think I have missed my closeness to God. So it is very, very important for us to continue debating this, to continue asking the questions and interrogating it, because it is out of all these debates and counter debates that we begin to fashion out an area of inquiry about what we want to study, what we want to do our PhD on, what is engaging, what will be something that will contribute to knowledge. Hawa, is your hand raised, or is it from the last section?
I raise it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so, but I think the more emphasis, like this, Madam Junior said, is on the individual perspective. For instance, I have a daughter who is about 16 years old. And one thing I learned with her is that she cannot do without technology. Then I now asked her, there is this musical that I was trying to look for in the internet. And I jokingly asked her, do you know where I can download all this music app? Do you know them? She said, yes, Mom, I know about 10 of them. And coincidentally, she kind of downloaded them to me. And I kind of, maybe that improved my knowledge on how this generation, they are into this kind of technology. And if, which I'm not sure, if definitely as a parent or as a human being, whichever religion you believe on, you are not in this kind of technology, Gaskia, I'm with the idea that you are left behind.
That's all right. So, like I said, we'll continue debating it again and again and again and again. And my lectures are deliberately provocative. The whole idea is that we want you to come up with something. It is out of all these debates and counter debates that you actually get it up. Will you stop that? Will you? They're jumping up and down. Would you believe that? No. I'm in a class. Let's go off. So the more we debate this thing, the more we'll be able to come up with ideas for our own individual inquiry. So please start thinking about it. I'm recording this video and I will hope to be sharing it once the recording is over, so that at least we'll be able to go over what we have all said. And I don't want you to say, oh my God, I wish I didn't say that. Or next time he's recording me, I'll be a little bit more careful and so on. So now let's go to almost to the second, I've not even started actually. The lecture has not even started. We're still preliminary. Okay, so we are now about to start moving. So, introduction to mass communication research. What are mass media and what type of things do mass media researchers investigate? Let's look at these questions. What are mass media? We have already defined it. Reaching out to a large number of people, undifferentiated audiences without expecting any feedback. I mean, if somebody says, hello, I've watched your TV program or podcasting, that's wonderful. It's very nice. I've listened to you on the radio and you are just wonderful, or you are just horrible. And that's, again, also nice. At least somebody is giving you feedback. But generally speaking, we really don't expect much of a feedback. And we have 3 degrees of media. Most of it is from your former studies. The growth of mediated communication, which we have just finished debating about. the growth of mediated communication. Media that is now used as an infrastructure, as a template for communication. Computers can integrate previous media technologies in a single meta medium to a degree. Computers can also simulate embodied interpersonal communication. You're dealing with avatars. You're dealing with virtual communities. I mean, there are games actually that enable you to create virtual you. If you are to come back on the planet again, how would you project yourself? I know I will come back as a guitarist, really, really. I mean, I will come back like Eric Clapton or Jimi Hendrix or something like that. So, but you have now virtual communities that give you an opportunity. I mean, software that gives you an opportunity to redesign yourself. It also indicates the scope of this course. It is useful to distinguish three prototypes of media. Three, very, very critical. Three, first degree media, biologically based, socially formed. What is that? Stop that. I'm sorry. Biologically based, socially formed resources that enable human beings to articulate an understanding of reality for a particular purpose and to engage with others in a communication about it. Verbal language, that's the first media. I mean, all of us grew up from babies to where we are now. We have children that are talking. I have one little toddler who is trying to speak. And so far his vocabulary is limited to only 3 words. He knows no, he knows his mother's name, and he knows drink. He likes drinking juice a lot. So verbal communication is the first degree of the mass media that we have. Such media depend on the presence of the human body and operate in a local time space, often relying on comparatively simple mechanical techniques such as musical instruments and artistic and writing utensils as constitutive elements. You have to have a musical instrument that you can use in order to communicate or to talk or to write and so on. So in other words, the primitive form of communication is the first degree. The second degree moves on to technology, which is a technology-enhanced form of communication. Early modern examples include standardized production of religious and political texts through the printing press. In about 1450 something or so, Gutenberg came up with the printing press, and that revolutionized the way Bible media is communicated, because suddenly now people can read, and by reading they have mass audiences. Before, you have to have only a particular audience in front of you who can listen to you. But with the invention of printing press, it becomes easier now to spread mass media. But even before the printing press, people were writing with their hands. They are writing scribes with their hands, and those things take a long time to write, and they are subjected to all sorts of environmental hazards, like termites, moisture, and so on, that destroys manuscripts. Many libraries have lost a lot of their collection because of all these technical issues. But with the printing press by Gutenberg, we now have a way of storing our information and distributing it on a larger scale. In the radio talk shows, conversation took on new forms, just as action styles were adopted to cinema and television. Thus, media technologies have performed by re-embedding both the media in the first degree and the people in relationship to distant other issues and arenas. So if you're a filmmaker or you're a film star, you are now dealing with another arena, because when you appear in a film, your film is projected to a large number of audiences all over the world. So that's the media of second degree. The third degree is digital media, the one that we have been debating about, the one that we are thinking it should be good or bad. Nobody talks about the radio being good or bad, but people talk about the radio broadcasters being good or bad. Nobody talks about a particular television set being good or bad, whether it is LG or Samsung or whatever it is. No, but it's the programs in the radio that are good or bad. So we are now dealing with all these considerations about where should our emphasis be. Is it in the content? Is it or in the producer of the content? And how can we control the content? So the digital media is the third degree of mass communication, which has overshadowed all the other forms of communication completely. I mean, like we have all pointed out, you are on Facebook and you have 5,000 friends. 5,000 friends is an awful lot, but there you are. And these friends are all over the world. But you find that you really engage with just about less than 1% of those 5,000 friends. 500, you only engage with about 500 on a regular basis. The rest are just people collectors. They just like to say, oh, I have tagged somebody, or I'm a friend of somebody, but that's all. I mean, they don't engage with you, you don't engage with them, and you keep looking at it and begin to wonder, how the hell did this guy even got into my friend's circle? But so there are people collectors. If you're a personality, a big personality, no matter how bad you are, like Donald Trump, no matter how bad you are, there are people who want to be your friend so that they can say, oh, I and Donald Trump, we are friends. It's like you hang out together or take a dinner together or have a couple of drinks together. So it is a networked personal computer. That is the media of third degree, and what McLuhan talked about. We'll be talking about more on McLuhan later. So what types of things do mass media researchers investigate? Oh, we have gone. Here are a few examples. Which format should radio stations adopt? What kind of format? Should it be linear? Should it be interactive? Or should even we stop radio? I mean, forget about all these mass and radio stations. Can you create your own radio station on your own laptop? What about podcasting? What are new forms of podcasting? So which songs should radio station play? Should they play classic rock, hip hop, Afro pop, blues guitars, or what? I mean, what will they play? And why do they play that one? Is it because they're looking for advertising revenue? Because the more they play a particular kind of music, the more younger people or older people listen to them. But people are targeting younger people because the demographics show that younger people are the ones with the money to spend. But that's not true. Younger people are more impulsive in purchase, but the people who control the economy are the older people because they are the ones with the regular income. So if I have a radio station and I have to decide what kind of music I'm going to play, the question is, who is my audience? What's my target? Should I play contemporary music that will attract young people so that they can listen to advertisement? Or and even though they don't have the money to buy the product that the advertisers are selling? Or should I appeal to older members of the audience that have the money, but they don't want to purchase? And how can I make them purchase? So these are the kind of questions that you can investigate. What type of host do listeners want on radio stations' morning shows? What do viewers think about pilot for a new TV show? What do viewers like most and like least about their favorite local TV news program? Why is a current TV program not performing as well as anticipated? Why you have to cancel it because people are not really subscribing to it? Okay. What is how effective is advertising on TV, radio, the internet, and all types of print? The effect of TV on purchasing power, the effect of radio on purchasing power. Do you buy things really because somebody is doing a very clever advertisement on it? Well, let me give you an example. In Kano, there is a place called Pizza and Gurasa. And what they did in Pizza and Gurasa advertisements is that they use young people who use contemporary lexicon. And the next thing you know, everybody wants to go to Pizza and Gurasa. Why Pizza and Gurasa? Gurasa is a wheat bread, just the typical normal wheat bread available in the north. And you don't combine Gurasa and pizza. But you see, they have to come up with a cultural communication mode that makes Gurasa glamorous. Pizza is very glamorous. It's glamorous, expensive, and unnecessary. It costs about 6,000 naira for a piece of bread. And 6,000 naira can feed a family for about a week. But you have to show you are somebody. And look at Domino's Pizza in Kano, close to Central Hotel. I mean, that place is overchoked with people. And people are going there to take photographs. They are taking snapshots. They can't afford to buy the pizza inside because it's 6,000 naira. But they're taking photographs because Domino's has been going all over the world telling people that they're just simply the best. So if you really want to be cool, be poor, okay? Buy it and be poor, but you look cool, all right? You don't have a lot of money, but you can buy a pizza for the whole family. Buy a large pizza that costs about 8,000 naira or 10,000 naira. Whole family will have just a slice, okay? That makes you poor, but at least you look cool. So you can take a picture of you and your pizza and the Domino's package in there. So Pizza and Gurasa was a counterpoint, even though it has been there before Domino's. But Domino's heard about Pizza and Gurasa and they decided to move in. And then the next thing you have Chicken Republic. Chicken Republic also came on, and everybody wants to go, oh, I'm buying chicken and Chicken Republic. And you're spending like what, 5,000 naira? But with the same amount of 5,000 naira, you can go to the market and get about 3 lovely chickens for less and get them well cut, and you have a massive pepper soup with about 3 or 4 chickens. But there you are in Chicken Republic, just buying a tiny little bit of chicken, but you look cool, you look glamorous. I mean, it's just amazing. And your picture is all over Facebook, WhatsApp, showing that you are really somebody. So advertisements are very critical because they pamper to our ego. They pamper to our, the subliminal part of our life that wants to be glorified. So these are the kind of things that you do in a research. There are many. The next screen also shows you as many as possible. Like I said, I'm giving you this slide, I'm giving you the recording so you can go over it again and again. So let's go back to research. Regardless of how the word research is used, it essentially means the same thing, an attempt to discover something, the truth. The truth is out there somewhere. Somebody has to find it. Somebody has to locate it. Somebody has to investigate it. Somebody has to uncover it and show it and share it with us. So this is what we do when we carry out a research. It can be very informal. It can be very formal. It can be structured. But your kind of research is structured. You know, you have to come and into a class, listen to a lecture. You have to have a proposal. And then once you do your proposal, you have to defend that particular proposal. And then you have to go through a whole rigmarole of going to do your collected data and so on. You are here for the next 4 to 5 years. So it's a long, long, long ride. Okay. So and so this is what we do. We have procedures. Both procedures can be good or bad. It depends on how the research is conducted. And I have a principal analytical domains here in the next slide, which shows you now you have pages of the research. There are 4 classical pages, right? No way you can remove these 4-page classical structure. This is the classical structure of our research. Number 1, the medium itself. You're looking at the medium. Number 2, you're looking at the users and the users of the medium. Number 3, you're looking at the effects of the medium, the outcome of the medium. And number 4, you're looking at how the medium can be improved. Now, this is actually something called system analysis. It goes through a system development life cycle. The system development life cycle just tells you how, how things develop from a beginning to an intermediary stage to a developed stage. And then when they collapse, they don't work again. So we are now reaching a paradigm shift. By the time you get to number 4, you are actually at a paradigm shift level, because it means that the medium, the use and the users and the effect of the medium no longer effective. They are no longer working. So because they're not working, now you have looking at how the system can be improved. And that is what they mean actually by paradigm shift. All right. So let's look at page 1. There is an interest in the medium itself. What is it? How does it work? What technology does it involve? How is it similar or different from what we already have? What functions or services does it provide? Who will have access to the new medium and how much will it cost? So what the medium could be? It could be radio. I mean, so, So what is the medium? Yeah, could be radio, could be television, could be internet, it could be podcasting, it could be anything. So you are looking at the medium itself and you are interrogating the medium from all these particular perspectives. And we just finished a very lively debate about the internet. The internet is a medium, okay? The entire internet, both the upper level internet, the middle level internet, and the dark web, they're all part of the internet technologies. So what is it? What do we do with it? In second page of the research, you are now moving to another level. How do people use the medium in real life? How do people use radio? Who listens to radio now? And look at it this way. Go back to the first one. The medium is radio. How many of us have radio sets, ordinary radio sets in your houses now? We don't. We all use our internet now. So remember all those shortwave radios and things like that that used to cost a lot of money? Well, now we don't have them anymore. Cachibo, Caribo, or whatever it is, the one that they keep selling them. After about 2-3 months, they are spoiled. You have to throw them and buy another one. Now we don't do that because you have Tune In, you have Radio Garden, you have all sorts of programs on your phone that will enable you to listen to radio from all over the world. That shows a change. That shows a transformation. That shows a movement. So users and people are now using the radio in a much more interactive manner. You can now listen to radio programs from other parts of the world. It's very, very important. But whereas before, you are only restricted to your own local environment, except you are using, of course, shortwave. And then you have to keep twiddling before you can get the station. And so the questions that are there all interrogate the medium and the way we use that particular medium. The next page is the social, psychological, and physical effects of the medium. And there's a whole bunch of literature on this, media effect theories and so on and so forth. Internet is bad because they are selling pornography on the internet and things like that. No, we should not be listening to music because it's the devil's sound. They are putting devil music inside it. You should only listen to sermons. You should not do all that. I mean, there are so many, many things that are tied down with psychological, social, and physical effects of the medium. Every single evil was blamed on the technological medium. So let's look at one particular incident. In the North, during the height of the lockdown, a woman who is a social media influencer set up a challenge, Dance for Your Husband Challenge. I don't know how many people are aware of this, but a lot of women, presumably, of course, Muslim women, were recorded videos or got somebody to record videos of themselves dancing to their husbands to a particular soundtrack. And you could say, oh, this is nice and romantic. The lady who even started this and said she is going to sponsor the best video producer to a dinner in Abuja. If she comes in, she'll have a dinner. It's all kind of fun until the ulamas got into the act. And then the whole thing blew up. And then there was condemnation, there was abuses, there were Facebook channels on all this. I mean, it was just incredible. And I studied it. I actually wrote a paper about it and developed in the US, virtually, of course. So, how many of you are aware of Dance for Your Husband Challenge? Okay, how are you aware of it? Now, let me unmute yourself. Yeah? So, what do you think about it? What do you think about it? Hawa, unmute yourself.
Okay, okay.
All right.
I think it was just when I first saw the video, I said to myself, if you really want to be perfect to your husband or dance to your husband, you don't need to share it with the public.
Okay.
Though so I like the song, I've done the video, but I've not published the video. But I've not done it with my husband.
You did it. You did it. I would like to
did it. So I did it with my children, not with my husband per se, because I like the track. I like the track.
Okay.
Jaruma, I like the track. Jaruma, I like how the slow the music is. Yeah,
ooh,
I love it.
And why did you do to your husband? You should show him that you love him.
No,
the challenge says dance for husband. Dance for husband.
That's not for children. I agree. But if I should dance to my husband, it's not that kind of social, in the social setting. You really understand. But I think if you really want to dance to your husband, you don't have to show it to the public. The disadvantage of it is how many people are going to see it, because you don't know millions or thousands of people that are going to view it. And you may not know, as you say, communication, you are not expecting the feedback. You don't know what people are going to say about it. So that is with the fear of feedback, that is why you don't have to do kind of sort of a thing. But I'm much aware of it. And
okay, go ahead. You are more aware of it and you have done it and we'd like to see it. Any other perspective? Any other perspective? Mariam?
Yes, sir. I've watched the numerous videos that were done with that same track.
And you did it also. I'm sure you did it.
No, well, sir, I don't have a husband yet, so I think I should.
Okay.
Okay, and even if I had a husband, I think I wouldn't do that, honestly. Like, okay, I might do it, but I wouldn't share it to the public.
So you're censoring yourself?
Well, it's not an issue of censorship. I think it's something that has to do with the culture and then maybe religion in some way. You know, most of the women in that video were mostly northerners, and we have this thing with the north that's well, that shouldn't honestly, that shouldn't be something for the public.
Okay. Any other observation? Yes, Eugenia. Yeah, Eugenia, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. I think it was a good idea, and I share Hawa's views about not sharing with the public. I think technology has given us the fillip to be able to share a lot of things with people we don't know. Sometimes we have likes by all manners of people who like us. We have people who are following us who we do not even know anything about. While to an extent it can be fun, sometimes it can be a security challenge, it can be a security risk. And I agree with Hawa that it's not something you want to show everybody if it is something you are doing to show your husband. I think also we must be careful when it comes to misogyny, because I would like to see men dance for their wives.
Oh, there are some who did actually. There were some of the videos. Some people actually did dance for their wives. But I'm not sure whether you are saying that because Hawa is saying that there is a cultural parameter, cultural barrier to sharing this because it's like private space. You are in a private space, matrimonial private space, and that private space is critical. So that should not be shared. Whatever should be in a private space should not be shared. That is, I think, Hawa's argument. But your argument seems to be, but your argument seems to be from a security perspective. Because you see, both sides can actually work. I have a counter video of a woman saying that she has seen wealth, she has seen richness in these videos. She has seen people with a lot of gold and a lot of beautiful opulent houses, and she is going to target those husbands. She has seen three, actually. She mentioned three. I have seen three, and I'm going to go after them one by one. So that is the unintended consequences of the fun and the sharing and the friendship and so on and so forth. And it's to me, as a media scholar, it's wonderful. I'm not interested in the right and the wrong. I'm interested in what happened. And what happened is clearly that it has created a public discourse about the publicness and the representation and the way technology can be used to represent somebody and the effect, the psychological, physical, social effect of technology. We think it is harmless. That is what the lady who started the whole thing did. She thought it was a harmless kind of thing, but the next thing, it has spiraled out of control. Lamara.
Yes, sir. I think to sum it up, this is the influence of technology on the society. Because, yes, this woman, nobody heard of her before. And using technology, she now tried to influence and penetrate a kind of culture or cultural, society. Those, because those who did the dancing, ordinarily, they may not do it in the public to their husband. But because of the technology, they use it, film it, and now share it to the public. So I think the summary of the dance for husband issue is the issue of technology, the influence of technology in our present day life.
Okay, so Lamara, you are suggesting that we should ban technology.
No, 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 no. This is another. I mean, the importance
If
of
the
technology.
technology is not, if the technology is not there, then they wouldn't do it. But the technology was there. So you are saying
Yes.
that it is the technology that is responsible for them doing it. Because if there is no technology, they wouldn't do it.
No, what I'm saying is that technology can make us to do something good, and then at the same time can influence the society to transform, because this is more or less, to me, it is just a social activity that has no harm whatsoever.
So
Ordinarily,
you support it. You support the dance for husband challenge.
yes, I
You support it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well,
Because it shows us, it is showing us the level of civilization.
Not level of civilization, level of decadence, because a similar activity actually happened in Pakistan when Bina Malik went to India. She was Pakistani Muslim, went to India, and she appeared in some very, very not so nice poses, and that caused a lot of problem between her and the religious class in Pakistan. And she said, "This is my body, okay? You cannot just judge me. It's my body. I have the right to do whatever with it." So the question is, technology gave these women ability to reinterpret their bodies in public sphere. And so society is saying that this is wrong, you shouldn't do it. So who is right and who is wrong? Dayabu, you want to say something?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Okay, Mariam, recognize.
Hello.
Dayabu, go ahead. We are hearing you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Why did you mute yourself? Go right ahead. Okay, Mariam, unmute yourself.
Okay, sir, thank you. I think in such situation is the issue of what harm her action could cause on the society. or maybe rather what influence her action could cause on the society. In a situation where wherever she's doing something that is personal, but it has the tendency of influencing the society, I think the society or maybe the religious group has a say, or they're the right, they're the right, they're saying the right thing here. So it's what she does would influence people, especially the younger girls, to imitate or be influenced by her action, and then it could cause immorality in the society, and then I think the society has a right to ask her to stop that.
Are you saying that a woman dancing for her husband is now responsible for decadence and immorality in society?
It has a tendency of that, not really an immoral. Those of, I mean, part of those videos, there was a particular video where a
Which means
man
you
with
watch
two
them.
different wives were kissing, were doing all sorts of things in that video, and
you mean
this is
a
something
wife
not
should
right.
not kiss her husband? A wife should not kiss her husband? Hello?
A wife should kiss her husband, but shouldn't be public. Like, so, even French kissing, sir, please. I think it's something that is, I mean, shouldn't be public, honestly. Both women at the same time having that kind of French kissing with their husband in public, in front of their kid, I think it's just not okay.
Okay, what I will do for you, I will share with you to the guy who has a Telegram, by the way, because my slides tend to be huge. The paper, and then you can read it as part of and a mini assignment for page 3 that we're looking at. We're looking at social, psychological, and physical effects of the medium. So I will share the paper which I presented somewhere with all the videos and the argument and things like that, and I will embed in the slide your assignment. Okay, so that this will be your first assignment from me. I don't know if others are giving you assignments too, but I'm giving you an assignment. Okay. Farouk, you wanted to say something? Go ahead and mute yourself. Nano, Farouk.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes. So in light of the argument regarding this dancing issue, well, quite frankly, I do not support the idea of a woman sharing, such a video to the public, because as far as I'm concerned, this is an issue that it has a lot of, undertones, so to say, from the cultural perspective, religious perspective. None of this, allows for such a demonstration, so to say, because that's how I see it. Because for some people, it's beyond just dancing for their husbands. It's also an avenue for them to, showcase certain things. Maybe Madam Eugenia mentioned the security challenge that this could actually pose to a lot of people. In fact, somebody told me once that people will go into WhatsApp groups, they will just hack in, and then they will, of course, in that group where usually is women, a man can come in, and then you find women, videoing, they will just video their houses, and then they will show to the group. And then somebody left, I think, Kaduna or Kano to Abuja, to one of those victims, and then he went to the house. Of course, when she was doing the video, she showed, all corners of the house, including where jewelries and other things were kept. And then, so when he went into the house, he went straight to those places and, of course, picked whatever it is he wanted to pick out of it. So now, for the women who, of course, felt that, okay, they were doing this for their husbands, as far as I'm concerned, it should be for the husbands only. So if you decide to share it with the public, it means you're doing it for all the men in the world. So as far as I'm concerned, it is, you're not even helping your husband. And I feel every responsible husband should not even, give room for such, such an act. As far as I'm concerned.
They want to display their wives and say their wives are incredibly beautiful or something like that. They want to, the guy with 2 wives, for instance, giving him drinks and then hugging him and all that. Are you jealous? You're jealous
in
because
fact,
your
let
wife...
me even give you another example.
Go ahead.
Ordinarily, it is my responsibility, yes, to guard. It is my responsibility to guard my own wife because she's not a public property. Now, somebody also made another mistake. He went on Twitter and then he posted his picture and his wife together, and then she was not covering up at all. In fact, some part of her body was, showing up. And then somebody now said to him that, I like this lady, please give me her contact so that I'll talk to her because I think she's a good material. And now the guy was so quick to start insulting the guy, and then he quickly removes the picture. I said, why did you do that in the first place? So that's why I felt it is irresponsible for a man to showcase his wife in the public, and then for a wife to also showcase her own body for the world to see. So I think it's not just for husbands.
Yeah, but you see, I know, but there is a parameter here that is missing, a big parameter. See, Mariam, yourself, and one or two others who spoke about this are speaking from a particular doctrinal perspective. There's a doctrine that guides your perception. You are saying it is your responsibility to prevent your wife from appearing in public. So there's a doctrine. Suppose somebody does not subscribe to that doctrine, that there is no prohibition for you to allow your wife. How would you interpret the activity? Let's say, for instance, if you're a Christian, okay, where your wife does not have to cover herself or something like that. So what will the debate and the narrative be?
Now, even so, when it comes to a wife being allowed to go out without putting on a veil, of course, the society recognizes, the manner in which we should appear. They said, as you dress, so you are dressed. Now, even in Christianity, there's a degree to which a woman should cover her body. Now, but of course, the society today, I don't know, but I feel personally, from moral perspective, religious or cultural perspective, there should be level at which a woman should dress up. Now, you find that in recent times, you see a woman, a married woman at that, dressing with her breast barely open, and then she will attend public gatherings with her husband beside her. Sometimes I ask questions, is this man morally all right? So these are part of the problems we're talking about. Now, on a normal ground, because we are human beings, therefore, there should be limits, as to whatever it is we're going to do. And they still, as far as they're concerned, this is civilization. They have grown up, they are Westernized. But of course, for me, there are certain things that we feel is normal, but I feel is just being stupid.
Okay, now,
if your wife you public, and then
I understand. We're talking about wives. So you're talking about a case in which there is a matrimonial linkage and relationship and obligation. Do you know Rahama Sadao? You know Rahama Sadao?
Beyond wives. In fact, I do. Yes, sir.
Well, she also was involved in a lot of controversy about a backless dress. She was not married.
Of course, I
has
saw
no
that.
Husband. She has no husband. You did not support her.
Yeah, that does not give her the room to do that.
I
didn't support her from.
She's in the market. She's in the market.
But she is simply telling the world that, well, as it is right now, well, I don't even know, because I don't even know how to describe that scenario. But as far as I'm concerned, what she did was, for me, if I assuming I am still single, of course I am allowed to marry for a wife. But if I want to go for another, I would not go for such a wife, because that's
your wish. That's okay. That's your wish. But Rahama Sadao, a beautiful young woman, decided to appear in a backless dress and using the power of Twitter to showcase her beauty. Is that wrong?
Her beauty and her body, sir.
Yeah, well, that's right. Is that wrong?
And the truth of the matter is, you discover that responsible persons will never go for her, because as far as they are concerned, even when they work.
Who's truth? This is the lady who was invited. She was in Hollywood with Akon. I mean, she was in the United States. She was given a first-class treatment in the U.S. Embassy.
Yes, sir. Like-minded people flock together. I can understand that. But the truth is that if you look at our immediate environment, of course, the majority will not subscribe to her own way of life. Of course, but that particular act she has put in. And again, she came back to say that, okay, she regretted her actions.
No, she didn't. She didn't. She didn't.
So
What happened? Hang on. Let me explain to you what happened. She posted her picture. She posted her picture in her Twitter, and somebody, a Christian, made a comment. So her apology was not about the picture, but about the fact that somebody has commented and blasphemed. It's about that, not about her picture. She didn't apologize for her picture. She apologized for being the source of a person blaspheming against the prophet. That is very critical to understand the narrative. People have been abusing her and all sort of things, but the narrative was that it was someone who commented on her picture. If that person had not commented, nothing would have happened. But he commented.
Perhaps there wouldn't have been any sort of remorse.
So that is it. Good. Yeah. So that will be your assignment. This is the class assignment. I'm going to send you the Dance for Your Husband challenge presentation, and then there will be a question, because the assignment will be on page 3. Okay. The effects of the medium. It's very, very important for us to understand to what extent should social responsibility be critical in our understanding of the use of technology in communication. Okay. We may be communicating at cross odds. So I want to write that. I will give you all the details. Don't worry. I'll give you the details on all that. And then the final page, of course, is how the media. Sorry, somebody raised their hand. Mariam, I think you raised a hand, right? Or did Jamila? Hawa? I'm sorry. Yes, Hawa, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, let's start with you, Mariam. Go ahead, Mariam.
I think it's fine. Hawa can go.
Okay, Hawa. She said you can go. Unmute yourself. Oh, okay. Oh, I asked you to unmute. All right.
Okay. Still thinking about this dance challenge. I think I was discussing with one of my friends who based in Abuja, and I was kind of criticizing the dancing, how the technology has been kind of bombast those women that participated in this kind of a dance. And she said one good thing to me, which made me to kind of reason twice. She said, are you aware that these women miss their husbands so much? But that they are trying to use, they miss their husbands so much. That is, their husband, they seem to be like kind of first class or second class citizens. Since they are rich, you see the houses that they dance, they are rich. So this husband seems to be kind of busy all the time, traveling overseas, business for business or whatsoever. So they kind of miss this connection with their husband. So they don't even think twice on how this technology is going to backfire to them. So she said that I should not only look at the technology, I should also look at how this woman, the kind of fantasy, the kind of enjoyment they feel during that moment. So that also gave me another thought. And this kind of issue of maybe being on naked on this kind of technology is look at this what they call it, this medium. You see free wedding pictures. What do you talk about this free wedding picture? If you're talking about religion and culture, all those people that are displaying free wedding picture, they are Hausas. They are Muslims. Why must you show your free wedding picture on Instagram, whatsoever medium? And all those women that you are talking about, they are somehow showing their breasts, showing their bottoms. So I think even Malam Farouk, if he's going for a second wife, he's going to have a free wedding picture display on Instagram.
Malam Farouk, you are going to be on Instagram.
So the truth of the matter is, I also don't subscribe to even that one too, because you know, like I always say, I feel people should, you know, be mindful of the need to have some sort of privacy in their life. Now, it's just like in the case of people traveling from one point to another. Somebody's leaving Abuja for Kano, he will say, I'm en route to Abuja. Please pray for me. I have stopped in Kaduna. I'm just about leaving. I'm at the train station. All these things are problems. As far as they are concerned, they have grown. They are big boys, big girls, you know, traveling by train and all sorts of things. But then you discover that they're exposing themselves to a lot of security dangers. So people get to know every move they make in their life. You know,
and they know they are no longer in their houses, so they can go and burgle the houses.
You know, so all these things, for people, as far as they're concerned, well, that's growth. But to me, I think they need to evaluate the way they think and do things. That's how I see
That's all right. Mariam, over to you.
Yeah, I think I agree with Farouk. Honestly, there was more like a showcase of riches in those videos. You could see the women, most of them wearing a lot of gold in their body, and the dressing and the house itself. So it, of course, a concern for security itself. Like this is what these people have, or what the other people, maybe armed robbers, could get from them when they get to their houses. And then on the other side, taking away the coming from religious perspective or cultural perspective, I think dancing, sharing a video of a woman dancing is not really an issue, because similar thing has been done already. For example, during wedding, lots of women dance with their husbands. So I think it's
Hang on a
something.
minute. Hang on a minute, Mariam. Hang on a minute.
Yes, sir.
Now, during wedding, when you share
Yeah.
those pictures of what Hadiza said, breasts and the area and all that, you are dealing with a mass audiences and mass behavior. Okay, mass audiences and mass behavior. In the Dance for Your Husband challenge is an intimate, very intimate, personal space of a husband and his wife sitting down to a dinner, and she bringing him drink or something like that, and swaying and dancing and so on in a suggestively sexual manner. So that means that there is a privacy here. But in the wedding pictures and the wedding circumstances, there's nothing like privacy. The weddings are not supposed to be private. They're supposed to be public. So whatever you do in public, you just look silly. People will say, oh, you are dancing up and down, you are silly. Like Ganduja's daughter. Ganduja's daughter appeared and was dancing all over the place, and people are complaining. Why should they complain? It was meant to be merry. It's supposed to be a public event. But in this case, this is a bedroom, in a bedroom or in a living room or wherever it is, just the husband and the wife. In fact, in one of the videos, the woman was even directing the camera, asking the camera to go to a particular angle. She's amazing because she wants to come closer to the husband and swaying and shaking and so on. So there is a difference between the privacy of those videos, Dance for Your Husband, and the publicness of dancing in public during weddings. It is very important to understand that. Now, let me ask you this. Will you do that?
Which of the two?
The dancing, not in public.
Not in public.
You and your husband or boyfriend or spouse equivalent.
Well, without a camera.
Oh, you can do that. I remember, I know
Without
I
a
said
camera.
you with a camera. You can do it with your husband with a camera and record it.
Without a camera. No, without a camera. I'll do it without a camera.
Okay, because this is what happened to Mariam Hiana Usman. You know all that about Mariam Hiana?
Yes, I had.
Well, she did something like that with a camera, and they thought, oh, this is just fun and things like that. And the next thing you know, it has become part of public space. Somebody even created a website exclusively for it. So
yes,
again, like I said, this is all about effects of the medium, and that will be your class assignment. I will frame it, and before the end of the day, I will actually send it to you. So as you could see, we discuss more and more and more and more. But basically, these are the 4 pages. So let's go to where we're going to take a break, or either continue or to stop. Uh-oh. What's wrong? What's wrong with my? I'm mirroring it somewhere. Okay, where are we? Modern mass media research includes a variety of psychological and sociological investigations. It's not just simply about the newspapers or the radio or the medium, the technology, but it's also about how we interact with them, how we interface with all these things. These include physiological and emotional responses to television programs, commercials, or music played on radio station. Why does a particular music make you think about in the past? You know, I know my wife loves a particular musician called Leo Sayer, okay? And she just loves that particular song by Leo Sayer. And the song was I Love You More Than I Can Say. So it takes me back to my courtship days. I mean, like about almost 35 years ago, whenever, and I listen to the record over and over again. So it has an emotional impact on me. It's not just simply a song that you listen, but it's something that has an emotional value on you. It's something that has this. So in addition, computer modeling and other sophisticated computer analysis are now commonplace in media research, and determine how such things are used as a potential successful television program, network, or syndicated. We used to have a way in which we can determine how people actually watch our network programs, but now nobody watches it. Why do we have to buy LG? You know, all these LGs are very expensive. When I can have NTA on my iPhone, I can listen, I can watch it on my iPhone. So why do I have to buy the TV? Status symbol. Okay. When people come to my living room, they see this big ass TV, LCD, or whatever it is, with all this stereo thing that nobody listens to. It conveys an urban cool, that I'm urban cool. So to get to the next level, you need to know that what the theory you either need to prove or, most importantly, disprove. We will be looking at a lot of theories, and we want to, in relation to the research that we are doing, we want to be able to say, how are we going to prove them or disprove them? So this brings us to the end of this segment. We still have another 1.5 hours. Now we have a choice. Yes, madam. Go ahead, Eugenia.
Thank you, Prof. I wanted to find out what platform you'll be sending our assignments to us, on what platform, and secondly, whether you could quickly scroll to the phase 3.
Okay.
So we can just look at it while we're talking.
Okay. Now let's talk about the platform. You see, the beauty of it is that I have only 2 classes, 2 lectures. So we're not even going to talk about a lot of platforms. Like I said at the beginning, I was the only person teaching this course, so it was really stressful for me. But now I have only 2 classes, and that will be okay. And the platform that we are prepared to use is Telegram. The reason is because Telegram can take up to about 1 gigabyte of file attachment. You can send it by attachment in an email. It just wouldn't go. So Telegram takes all that. So I said, one of you has a Telegram, and he said he has. I don't know which one it is. Somebody said he has a Telegram. So he can send me his Telegram, and then I will send you everything, and he will share it with you. Is that okay? Or is there a problem of communication? Or I can send it via WeTransfer. I have your emails, and I'll send it to you via WeTransfer. Or I can put it on Dropbox, okay? So either way, you'll get something before the end of the day, all right? Definitely. So now let's go back to phase 3. Now, phase 3 deals investigations of the social, psychological, and physical effects of the medium, communication medium, whether it is television, whether it is radio, whether it is a music MP3, or whether it is internet. This is what we deal with in phase 3 of any research. And I threw the question to you, dance for your husband challenge. That was a use of technology in visual communication, visual expression. Is that right or is it wrong? And we looked at all the kind of problems that this thing has created. And I said, there is a paper that I have, which I will share with you about this. And the paper will not tell you, it will in a subterranean way, not in a so obvious way. It will show you the effects of the technology and what happened. And most importantly, on public discourse, the way in which the use of technology can now generate public discourse. But don't forget that it is restricted to a particular society. So it does not really reflect Nigerian society as such. So what more would you want, Madam Eugenia, about this? Go ahead, you can unmute yourself.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have almost like, I've done 2.5 hours. This is my next part. So I need, I'm democratic. Do we pause, take a little bit of time, come back and continue? Because the next segment is longer, I mean, really, really longer. It has about 40 slides. Or do we come back tomorrow if it's going to be convenient? Because you are now all at home. We'll come back, I can send another link again tomorrow, and then we can finish this part. Is that okay? Which one would you prefer? Any thoughts? Lamara, unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself, Lamara. Lamara, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir, to come back tomorrow.
But we have only been for just 2.5 hours. We're
Yes,
just 2.5 hours. We are supposed to last for about 5 hours. You know, debating,
yes,
talking, fighting. And we are not in a class where there is no
yes.
light, no electricity. You can drink whatever you want, whether it is Zobo, Rodo, whatever it is, and then come back. So, okay, you said come back tomorrow. Jamila?
Yes, sir.
Jamila, go ahead. Jamila, I have unmuted you. Can you say something? You wanted to say something? Okay. Eugenia, I know your vote. Continue.
Yeah, it depends.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you. You
would,
go ahead now.
It depends on what the class wants, but I would rather take a break and come back. We can go and have something to drink.
Okay. Mariam. Okay.
So because my battery is already done, I would prefer we come back tomorrow.
No, we have not done. This is the introductory part of the lecture. The next segment will last at roughly 2.5 hours. The next segment is larger. I mean, it's really longer. I can of course summarize it, but you know me. At least you know me by now. I don't want to just talk. We debate, we discuss, we try to understand why we are doing research. So we have to interrogate ourselves. Any other observation?
What time? Tomorrow is Sunday. I won't be available in the morning. So,
we can. Okay.
Whatever
tomorrow,
the class says, eventually, whatever the class says.
Will 2 o'clock be okay? 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock is okay.
2
is okay.
Madam, check your diary. Yeah, check your diary. Check your diary. Look,
2 is okay.
2 o'clock. Is 2 o'clock fine?
Yes, sir.
You will have come back.
Yes, sir, it's okay.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
What does the rest of the class say?
Yeah, that's right. Let's have more. Jamila, go ahead.
Sir, I said some of us, about 3 of us, will be heading back to Kano tomorrow. We'll be resuming school tomorrow. And so I said we should be lenient on the time. If we can use today, else we use early morning tomorrow, and which is not going to be convenient for Madam Eugenia. So I don't know how they want.
Why are you going back to Kano tomorrow? I thought all the classes are online.
No. It's only your lecture online.
Only you.
Hello.
Yes.
You have to drive.
The rest of the class is physical, sir. Some of us have to be in Kano on Monday.
Yes, you'll be surprised to hear that the first lecture starts at 8 a.m. in the morning. So we can't make it on Monday.
So if you don't travel tomorrow, you won't make it.
I will suggest that we did our lecture tomorrow by 3 p.m. Those coming from Zaria or Kaduna to Kano by 3, they must be in the Kano.
Those coming from Abuja.
Okay. If we are all kind of